Hey campers, got time for a quick factoring zeros quadratics review? Well, here it is. There's multiple methods involved here, but generally the theory for the zeros, you've got a function equal to 0, you set each one equal to 0, and you solve. Now how much work you show is really up to you. Some people can do this in their head, and they can just say 2x equals 1, therefore x equals 1/2. And then over here, if x minus 5 is equals 0, you add 5 to both sides. X equals 5. Those are the two places where that value of y will be equal to 0, and therefore they're two solutions to that equation. And on a graph, those are two of the points where y is 0. All right, now over here on the right side, let's take a look at this one over here. Well, x by itself, that means that x is going to be equal to 0, because if you put a 0 right there, and you multiply it by everything else, it's a 0. 2x plus 6 minus 6 divided by 2, that's going to be negative 3/2. 6 over 2, oh sorry, duh. Duh. That would be negative 3. And 9 would be 9. Okay. Then on the bottom parts, I'm going to leave, let's see, on this last one down here, I'm going to do this mentally as well. Negative 5. 3 minus x, well 3 minus 3 would be 0, and then this middle one, that would be minus 3/2, so minus 1.5. And this one you're going to actually have to factor here, and this is a quick factor. So it's x plus, and factors of 6 are 1 and 6, therefore x equals negative 1 and negative 6. So those are our quick, down and dirty solving. Like I said, you could show more work, but at this level you probably don't have to quite as much. Now a little bit of quadratic solving. There's some different techniques here. It depends on what you see, but in the first one, basically 2 times 4 is 8. So x squared has to be equal to 4. So x has to be equal to 2. Now that's just common sense, but if you want to be a little more technical, divide by 2. You're going to get x squared equals to 4. And you'll notice something here, that x can be plus or minus. Remember that. You've got two roots to this. Quadratic equations. Remember parabolas. Parabolas look like this. So a lot of times they have two roots or two zeros. So be careful with those. Just remember that. Be careful with those. Okay, let's leave that diagram there. Come on over. Subtract 6 from both sides. So 3x squared equals 27. Right? Yeah, 33 minus 6, 27. Divide by 3, so x squared equals 9. And x equals, therefore, plus or minus 3. Let's see, coming on over to the other side. Divide by 3, so you got x minus 5 squared equals 6. And then you got to take the square root. So that's the point where you got x minus 5 equals. And when you take the square root, just like before, you get the plus and minus. You could say that's plus or minus the square root of 6. Don't even use a calculator. Then add 5 to both sides, and you're left with x equals 5 plus or minus the square root of 6. Now you can take a calculator and get the numbers if you want, but you really don't have to. You can leave that as your answer, unless you need, you're talking about dollars and cents. And then when you get to this other one, I'm going to skip the decimals for a moment. And I'm going to do this one right here and take the square root of x plus 15 equals plus or minus 9. Therefore, x equals negative 15 plus or minus 9. Or you might just want to say on that one, that's going to be negative 15, now is where I use a calculator, plus 9, which is negative 6, or negative 15 minus 9, which is going to be negative 24. All right, going to pause this for a moment. All right, we're back. Right here, add 1.2 to both sides. So you get 0.1 x squared equals 10. And then you divide 10 by 0.1, and you get 100. So x squared equals 100. Therefore, x equals plus or minus 10, the square root of 100. All right, and I'm going to leave that last one up for a moment. Let's see, I'm going to do 32 divided by 2. I'll just talk my way through this one so I don't have any room to write. That gives me 16. So x minus 2 squared equals 16. So you square root it. You get x is equal to plus or minus 4, and then you add 2 to both sides. So you get 4 plus 2, you get 6, and you get 2 minus 4, you get negative 2. All right. Okay, so when you're doing solving now, again, we're doing a little solving here. So we're going to subtract 36 from both sides. So x squared minus 16x minus 36 equals 0. Factor and use your zero techniques. So we got x, 36 to get 16 out of that, you need 18, and 2 are your factors. And the 18 needs to be negative, 2 needs to be positive. So that means that x equals 18 and negative 2. Over here, now if we just, real simple, let's see, make that a minus 21 to make it equal to 0. We're just going to factor again. And we're going to say, x, we got a negative here, so one's positive, one's negative. We've got 7 and a 3. No, we don't. We've got 8. That one will require the quadratic formula. So that one, skip for now because we don't want to do that. We're not doing that yet. So skip that problem for now. We're going to leave that one alone. It's a quadratic formula problem. But if you remember the quadratic formula, it's minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. That you can use that formula to get your solution. So that does work. All right, the last one over here. First of all, divide everything by 2. So you get x squared plus 4x minus 5 equals 0. Factor it. I'm going to put my 2 factors right here because I don't have enough room to write it. And that's x plus 4. No, plus 5. And x minus 1. Because that's how you factor that one. We already went through factoring. And that means my answers are 1 and negative 5. Those are solutions to my problem. All right, and that completes this video for little quadratic solving. I'm going to stop right there, 7:30, not bad.